There's great beauty in the human soul, great prowess in the human mind. Great wisdom come from rabbit holes, never know what you might find. This is the show of our dreams, exploring everything from mundane to extreme to unforgettable hosts. Let us make a toast to the Pod Deep DiveCast. Diving deep, so deep, so deep. As we take this podcast live, let us embrace deeper dives. 'Cause throughout our short-lived lives, we find enlightenment each time. Welcome to the show. This is the show of our dreams, exploring everything from mundane to extreme to unforgettable hosts. Let us make a toast to the Pod Deep DiveCast. As we take this podcast live, let us embrace deeper dives. 'Cause throughout our short-lived lives, we find enlightenment each time. Welcome to the show. Woo!
All right, everybody, welcome in. Ready to dig in. Today, we're diving deep into a company you might not know by name, but have definitely encountered their handiwork, American Cyanamid.
And what a story it is. We're talking about a company that started out in the early 1900s, knee-deep in fertilizer, and somehow ended up entangled with everything from life-saving medicines to, well, the stuff in your kitchen cabinets.
It's a real roller coaster ride, innovation, ambition, even a little bit of controversy sprinkled in. So, to set the stage, we're rewinding back to 1907.
Ah, the early days.
Two engineers, Frank Washburn and Charles Baker, they're sitting on a German patent for nitrogen fertilizer.
And not just any fertilizer, mind you. This was cutting-edge stuff for the time.
Game changer, right. But these guys, they weren't content with just a little plot of land. They had their sights set on something much bigger.
Muscle Shoals, Alabama, that was their dream.
And we're not just talking a factory here, folks.
Oh no, they wanted the whole shebang, hydroelectric power, the works.
Ambition the size of Texas.
Right.
Right. Now, to their credit, they were already seeing some success up north. They had a Canadian plant up and running by 1910.
Which makes you wonder, why didn't things go as smoothly in the U.S.?
You know, that's where things get interesting. Seems those damn permits weren't exactly flying out of the government offices.
And when has that ever been a simple matter, right? You start poking around in the history books, and you realize it wasn't just bureaucratic red tape.
Oh, you're saying there were some strings being pulled behind the scenes.
Let's just say there might have been some powerful interests who weren't too keen on seeing American Cyanamid take root on U.S. soil. But then...
Plot twist. World War I explodes onto the scene, and suddenly the whole world is turned upside down.
Talk about a game changer. 1 minute, everyone's worried about growing crops. The next, it's all about explosives and munitions. And guess who's sitting on a mountain of the key ingredient?
Our friends at American Cyanamid. Talk about being in the right place at the right time, huh?
You could say that, although right might be a matter of perspective. This is where things get a little ethically murky.
Yeah, this deal they struck with the U.S. government to finally get that Alabama plant built let's just say it raised a few eyebrows.
It's more like a whole chorus of raised eyebrows. Accusations of war profiteering, cronyism, you name it, it was swirling around. The Justice Department even came knocking, sniffing around for any whiff of wrongdoing.
A whole mess of controversy, and just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more complicated, tragedy strikes.
1922, Frank Washburn, one of the founding fathers of the company, passes away.
Leaving the company and the fate of those government-owned plants in Muscle Shoals hanging in the balance.
And that's when things take a turn for the truly bizarre. Because who comes waltzing in, hat in hand, ready to snap up those plants?
Don't tell me it was Henry Ford, wasn't it?
The one and only. Can you imagine Henry Ford, the car magnate, the assembly line king, wanting to get his hands on a fertilizer plant?
It's like finding a vegetarian at a steakhouse. What on earth could he have been thinking?
Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. Some historians speculate he had this grand vision for a future where agriculture and automobiles were somehow intertwined, but who knows?
It's enough to make your head spin. So the war ends, the world breathes a sigh of relief, and you think, okay, time to get back to growing stuff right. But American Cyanamid, they had other plans.
Oh yeah, they weren't content with just being the fertilizer folks anymore. They decided to become a full-blown corporate empire.
And I mean empire.
Yeah.
We're talking tentacles reaching into practically every industry you can imagine.
They dove headfirst into synthetic fabrics, think nylon stockings and rayon dresses.
But they didn't stop there. Oh no, they set their sights on the world of medicine.
Specifically, pharmaceuticals. They acquired a little company you might have heard of, Literal Laboratories.
Literal. Now, those guys were onto something big. I mean, we're talking groundbreaking stuff here. Antibiotics, chemotherapy drugs.
Their research was instrumental in developing chlortetracycline, one of the first broad-spectrum antibiotics. It revolutionized the fight against bacterial infections.
A real game changer. And then there was methotrexate, still used today to treat certain types of cancer.
It's a testament to the incredible impact Literal had on the world of medicine, but, and this is where things get complicated.
Yeah, there's a dark side to this story too, isn't there? We can't talk about Literal without addressing the elephant in the room, Zykl0n.
It's an incredibly sensitive and disturbing chapter. Between 1931 and 1943, American Cyanamid, through Literal, held the license to produce Zykl0n in the United States.
Originally intended as a pesticide, right?
That's right. It was initially marketed as a fumigant, used to control insects and rodents, a common practice at the time.
But of course, we all know how that story tragically unfolded. The use of Zykl0n during the Holocaust casts a long shadow over this part of American Cyanamid's history.
It's a stark reminder that even scientific advancements with the best of intentions can be twisted and misused in horrifying ways.
Absolutely. It forces us to confront the ethical dilemmas inherent in scientific discovery.
And the responsibility that comes with it.
And unfortunately, the ethical challenges don't end there. American Cyanamid also had their share of environmental controversies. Their Bound Brook, New Jersey plant in particular, became a major point of contention.
There were issues with pollution, lawsuits, the whole 9 yards. They ended up facing significant fines and cleanup costs.
It's a reminder that environmental responsibility is not just about good PR. It's about protecting public health and our planet.
And sometimes, even the best intentions and preventative measures aren't enough.
You're talking about Tropical Storm Dory in 1971.
Right. That storm caused massive flooding, and the Bound Brook plant was right in the path of destruction.
A recipe for disaster.
The floodwaters caused a major chemical spill, releasing a toxic cocktail into the surrounding environment. It was a wake-up call for the company and the entire industry.
It really highlights the potential consequences of industrial accidents and the importance of stringent safety protocols.
Absolutely. And it adds another layer of complexity to the story of American Cyanamid.
So we've journeyed from fields of fertilizer to the cutting edge of pharmaceuticals, even tiptoed through some ethically murky waters along the way. But as we turn the page to the 1990s, a new era dawns, and the corporate world gets a serious case of merger mania.
It was like a giant game of musical chairs with companies pairing up and disappearing left and right, and our friends at American Cyanamid, well, they weren't immune to the allure of the dance floor.
Nope, in 1994 the music stopped, and they found themselves face-to-face with American home products. Merger papers were signed, hands were shaken, and just like that, the name American Cyanamid, once synonymous with everything from bug spray to baby shampoo, vanished from the corporate landscape.
It's almost poetic in a way, isn't it? This sprawling empire, carefully constructed over decades, dissolving into the ether, its various branches absorbed into the vast expanse of the corporate world.
like seeds scattered by the wind, some landing in familiar territory, others taking root in unexpected places. BASF, those chemical giants, they scooped up a chunk of the chemical operations naturally. And Procter & Gamble, the kings of consumer goods, they snag a few of those household names we all grew up with.
But perhaps the most intriguing twist of fate involves Literal Laboratories, the crown jewel of American Cyanamid's pharmaceutical endeavors. Remember them? The antibiotic pioneers, the cancer-fighting crusaders.
Oh yeah, Literal. They weren't about to fade into obscurity. They landed on their feet, joining forces with another pharmaceutical heavyweight, Wyeth.
And as we know, the story doesn't end there, does it? Because Wyeth, in a twist of corporate irony, was eventually swallowed whole by none other than, drumroll please, Pfizer.
Pfizer, the very same Pfizer we discussed earlier. It's a small world after all, or at least a very interconnected one, with the tendrils of American Cyanamid ultimately weaving their way into the fabric of one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies on the planet.
A tangled web indeed. But hold on, before we close the book on this corporate saga, there's one more thread we need to untangle, the curious case of Cytec.
Cytec, ah yes, the spin-off company that inherited a hefty chunk of American Cyanamid's chemical business. You might think they'd be content to just keep the lights on, maybe tinker on the edges, right?
Not a chance. These folks had ambition to spare. They weren't content to simply ride on the coattails of their former parent company. No, they had their sights set on the skies, literally.
Wait, are you saying they pivoted from fertilizer to, like, rocket fuel?
Not quite rocket fuel, but close. Cytec carved out their own niche in the world of high-performance materials, particularly for the aerospace industry.
So from helping crops grow to helping planes fly, talk about range, it's enough to make your head spin.
It's a testament to the relentless pace of innovation and the surprising twists and turns that corporate journeys can take. But it also underscores a crucial point. Corporate stories, much like life itself, are rarely black and white, good versus evil narratives. They're messy, they're complex, and they're full of ethical gray areas.
And that's what makes them so fascinating to unpack, right? The story of American Cyanamid. It's a lens through which we can examine the evolution of entire industries, the immense power of scientific innovation, and the weighty responsibility that comes with wielding that power.
Exactly. As we wrap up our deep dive today, it begs the question, what will our own legacy be? As individuals, as consumers, as a society grappling with the ever-evolving landscape of technology and industry, will we learn from the triumphs and missteps of those who came before us, forging a path where innovation and responsibility walk hand in hand? Something to ponder, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So the next time you find yourself reaching for that bottle of shampoo, or maybe gazing up in awe at a plane soaring across the sky, take a moment to remember the winding, often unexpected journey of American Cyanamid. It's a reminder that even the most commonplace items in our daily lives have extraordinary histories, often filled with innovation, ambition, and yes, perhaps even a cautionary tale or two. Until next time, keep asking those questions, keep exploring those hidden corners of history, and keep diving deep.